I did not have a good time with Family Tennis. We'll get to my complaints in a moment, but after playing it, I wanted to see if anybody else shared my view. And it turns out that in Japan, while it's not especially popular, it definitely has its fans. So maybe I was doing something wrong. Maybe I just wasn't getting the game. It happens. Not everything is for everyone. Family Tennis completes our set of genres that other publishers stayed out of for years because of Nintendo's dominance right at the start of the Famicom. Baseball, mahjong, golf, and tennis were all the big system sellers in those early days, and tennis was the last one to get a competitor. Though it's also the one with the fewest number of games that will be released on the Famicom. The big feature of Namco's Family Tennis is the same as their Family Stadium: real-world athletes. 16 of the top tennis players from the mid-80s are included in the game. Namco's changed their names, but they also included a caricature of them, and for some of them they're pretty recognizable. All of them have different stats and abilities, though those aren't listed in the game. I found a few unofficial rankings of the characters' abilities, but the manual doesn't have them, and I couldn't find a strategy guide, so I'm not going to break everybody down. There are, however, a couple of important things to mention. First, the character that everyone considers to be overpowered is Boon Boon, who is a stand-in for Boris Becker. Second, there's several female players included. The game gives them an oversized racket to, and I'm reading from the manual here, to make up for their lack of power. Finally, while they all have distinct sprites, they all have the same animations, which makes me think that they were just built on a template. I was hoping John McEnroe would smash his racket when he lost, but no such luck. When you start the game, you can choose to play a single match, a tournament, or take on a world tour. When you play an exhibition game, you're given your choice of court, but when you go to tournament, each of the tournaments has its own court. You could play on pavement, which doesn't have much effect on the ball, on grass, which weakens the ball's bounces, clay reduces the ball's speed when it hits it, and then there's the Cosmos tournament. That court has physics which make the ball go faster and higher when it bounces. In the tournaments, you're competing against a field of 8 other players, and you're given your choice of playing a 3-set match or just a 1-set match. The World Tour takes you through all of the tournaments, and you have to play 3-set matches. If you win a tournament, though, you do get a password to continue at the next one. Now let's take a look at the start of a match. Here's the thing, this is not my first game. The timing to serve is strange. You don't hit the A button to swing your racket when the ball is down in the position where you'd actually want to strike it. You have to do it at just after the top of the ball's arc. It feels wrong. And the difficulty with serving was the first sign that I was in trouble with Family Tennis. At about half an hour in, I no longer wanted to win a match or a set. I wanted to win a point. Striking the ball with your racket is unnecessarily difficult in Family Tennis. The ball's position seems to matter a lot. If it's below or above the sweet spot, you just won't hit it, even though a real tennis player would be able to reach up or reach down. And your player has no momentum. Swinging the racket just stops your movement dead. Your character also moves slow enough that you're going to have to get moving as soon as you send the ball back to be in position to hit the return. Family Tennis just feels wrong to me in a way that Nintendo's tennis didn't. It definitely doesn't help that the characters all behave differently. Maybe I would have done better if I had stuck with one tennis player and learned how to use them. It definitely doesn't help that your opponent is randomized, and some are just plain better than others. Even players who liked the game noted that it was basically luck of the draw on whether or not you got a tough opponent or not. I did eventually win a few points. I never won a set, though. One other thing I don't like in Family Tennis is that it makes you play on the opposite side of the court sometimes. I can understand this if you're playing 2 players. The perspective on the backcourt is a disadvantage, and swapping back and forth is only fair. But when you're playing against the computer, it's just perspective. Our imaginary television camera could just flip to the other side of the court. There's no reason to give me a worse view. While the Famicom game never made its way to the US, there was a kind of remake, kind of sequel that was released on the PC Engine, and that did make it to the US as World Court Tennis. I've played that one and I found it to be more enjoyable. So perhaps Namco saw some flaws here and cleaned it up? Obviously, I don't think I'm going back to Family Tennis. It's given me a bad impression, and even on the Famicom, there's other tennis games I'd play. I think the only real saving grace of Family Tennis is that it does have the opportunity to play as a whole bunch of mid-80s tennis pros. Perhaps that's the thing that appealed to those Japanese fans.